Hello there, my friends. Today we're just doing a very simple and short video. I just wanted to update things and let you guys know where I'm at with everything. So right now here I'm just working on some of the more basic and simple cards that we have for my card game. So yeah, I just wanted to post something quick so that you guys had an update when it comes to Dark Souls. I'm a lot further ahead in the gameplay than what's been uploaded so far, but I'm still editing all of that footage and piecing it all together. So Dark Souls will still be coming up for those who are interested in that. And then when it comes to the card game stuff, I'm working away on some of these basic cards here. Motivation's a tough aspect here because I have, well over 200 cards that I am currently converting into this new card frame that has a spot for the card rarities here, as well as the art credit, and then also the copyright. So it's a huge process, and I'm updating some of the wording on some of the text. There's also some differences here. For card types, I've changed it so that now the card type is described with kind of just a 3-letter shorthand for the thing. So this is now like a spell card would just be SPL, meaning spell. And then additionally, spells have a mana value, which you can see in the top right here. It's different for the mana cost. I'll pull up some examples here. Here's an example. So Bolster here is a 1 mana basic spell. It boosts 2. And you're like, what is boost 2? This card is a basic card, so it does describe what the boost effect is. When you boost, to distribute the given number of boost counters among cards you control. They each give +1 attack, health, and mana value. So it's a very simple mechanic. It's, just spreading out +1/+1 counters among cards, and then for each one they get +1/+1/+1, and so on and so forth. So it's a 1 mana spell. But obviously, if you don't control any cards on the field, then I reward the player a little bit. And I say, hey, this card can't be played unless you control something on the field that is able to receive the boost. And so for that reason, you pay 1 mana, but you get boost 2 instead of just boost 1. And also on top of that, the mana value of the spell is also +1 as well. And you can see that trend continuing here as you go through all of the boost cards that I've made. So that's kind of the design philosophy there, is basically boost spells because they require you to control something already on the field in order to be played. That's fulfilling a condition, and by fulfilling a condition, you get +1 mana value worth of reward. It's similar to if I printed a spell that just dealt damage, but you couldn't play it unless you controlled a minion, I would give some small reward for fulfilling that condition there. So that's just sort of what's happening with that stuff. But yeah, basically it's just a long process. Like you can see here, this is a spell that does damage, and it costs 0 mana, but its mana value is 1, and that's because you pay the extra cost of losing 2 life, which is worth 1 mana, and thus the spell effect has a mana value of 1. And this mechanic is here for future proofing, because in later sets I might work on printing stuff like counter spells and that kind of thing, and those will be based on the mana value of the spell. So it gives me some tools to work with for the future, even though it's a mechanic that I haven't worked on just yet. It's something that I have going, but I've got I could go through every single card here, and then it would be maybe a ridiculously long video, but you can see a whole bunch of art that I've made here, a whole bunch of card frames. This one I made recently, so the rarity here is kind of shown in this sense. So basically what we end up having here is this is a spell card, and it's a master rank or master rarity. Basically the rarities are, how complex is this card and how hard is it to get the most out of this card. So a basic card, a total noob at the game could totally play and get the most out of it, but a card like this one is a little bit more advanced. And it reads very simple, it's just extra cost, sacrifice, scour 2, draw a card. Sounds really straightforward, but the skill testing aspect of a card like this is extremely high to a very ridiculous point, and it's very cool. So that's why it's a master rank card and why it would be so rare. It would be the highest rarity, would be master rank. So the complexity of this card really falls under the aspect of It's 0 mana, so you don't have to pay anything for this card, except it has an extra cost of sacrifice. So you have to send something that you control to the graveyard in order to play this card. And that can be a very difficult situation to fulfill that condition. It's more conditional than what I explained earlier with the boost effects, where you just have to control a minion. Well, this is, you have to control a minion and you have to give it up. So it's quite a significant cost, which is why you get a 0 cost card that has a mana value of 3. It's quite a high payoff for such an effect as this. So the effect is where things get even more skill testing, and hence why it has the high rarity. You have Scour 2. So Scour 2 is you look at the top 2 cards of your library, and you can put those cards on the top or bottom of your library, and you can also put those cards into your graveyard in any order, so you can kind of choose how you want to handle that. So because there's a lot of choice, there's a lot of information, and there's a lot of ways you can kind of screw it up with a card like this. If you're not a very skilled player, you might not realize that that card that you looked at with the Scour is something that you really need, or that card that you looked at with the Scour is something that you shouldn't put on the bottom of your library. You should actually put in the graveyard because you don't ever want to draw it maybe in this matchup, or maybe it just has a low mana value and you know this game is going to go into the late game where you don't want to be drawing a 1-drop or whatever. You want to be drawing your more expensive cards. So Scour is very, very skill testing. You couple that with the final effect, which is draw a card. So when you Scour, you could put the cards on the top, and since you draw a card after that, you have a choice. Do you want to draw those cards you looked at, or do you think that those cards you looked at are not the card you're looking for, and the card you're looking for is more likely to be the card you don't know about that's beneath 2 cards down on the top of your library? So there's so much going on with a card like this, and that's why it's a master rank card. Yeah, just writing flavor text and doing this kind of thing. But the thing is that the current print of the game has so many cards. It takes a long time for me to convert every single one of these guys into this new framing format. So that's why the game isn't out yet. I'm still just getting this part done, and then once I have this part done, I'll register the trademark and also the name of the game. I really want to get that like sorted out. I have a name for the game, but I can't really say it just yet because it's like I don't have it protected yet, so I want to make sure I get it protected before I go ahead and actually, start selling the game. So because I have a card back made for the backs of the cards, but obviously I need to trademark the name before I start throwing it onto every single card that I print, So, yeah, you see just a whole bunch of cards. They vary, like I mentioned, in terms of art quality and all that stuff, because it's like, I think this one looks pretty good, even though it's a small art. Like, it's not like a giant piece of artwork, it's just a small piece. This one looks good. This one's kind of basic, you know what I mean? But it's okay, because this card kind of should be basic in terms of, like, its visual design for what it is, I don't think you need much more than that. And these cards look nice, even though they are very simple, too. So there's kind of a balance of, like, sometimes you just want to have, like, a simple art that just gets the point across, and sometimes you want something really quite striking, like this, like Ascending Order here, which it's one of my favorite arts. There are full arts of a lot of these cards, but I'm not making the full arts right now. Right now I'm making the framed cards because that's what I have to work on. So it's a whole process. So thanks everybody for sticking with me, and I'll upload this today just so I have something up on the channel. I am going to continue posting, but it's a lot of editing and all that stuff, so it takes a bit of time. Thanks for